We're not alone today. Make yourself comfortable. Yeah. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Performance Perspective, where we talk about musicals, whether they're in films or on stage, and we share our perspective on them. Now, I have to say, this week is very exciting because I watched 3 new musicals that I have never seen before, and they're on different platforms. So this week I thought it would be exciting to watch something that Broadway HD has been advertising to me, which was Space Dogs. And not only did I watch Space Dogs, I watched it with dogs. In fact, you might hear them on the side. Their names is Cashew and Nugget. They're not my dogs. They are my landlord's dogs. And I'm happy you guys are here. This musical is based on a true story about Laika and the chief designer. So it's a stray dog and the top secret Russian scientist who sent her to space during the Cold War. This was written and performed by Van Hughes and Nick Blaemire. Now, when I say perform, I mean they are singing, harmonizing, acting, and playing the instruments. It's very clear to me that these two are immensely talented. Now, like I said, before I was going to watch this Canine History, I decided that I wanted to watch it with dogs. I don't have any, but fortunately my landlord let me borrow these guys to watch a couple musicals. Now, if you saw my previous video, it was my review on Broadway HD. So, as you might know already, I can't watch it on the TV, so I have to watch it on my iPad. Now, before I share my thoughts about the musical, you might be wondering what makes a good musical. So the way I look at musicals is I look at the foundation first, sort of like the batter, you're making cupcakes. And the batter to me is story, music, talent. After that, I then look at the frosting, which to me is stuff like the movement, choreography, the set, the costumes, anything that seems a bit more like an add-on, a decorative on something solid. That's what I consider is the frosting. I mean, think about it. Have you ever been to a show where everything looked amazing, the production was 10 out of 10, but then yet you felt like this still wasn't a good show? It's probably because they need to check their batter and see what's going on with that. You can have the best frosting, but a bad batter will ruin the cupcake. The first thing I thought to myself when watching this was, who are they writing this for? It felt very educational, and at first I thought it was meant for kids, especially when you realize the dogs they're referring to are stuffed animals. I then realized they were cursing, and some of the scenes were just not appropriate for kids. This was also very interactive with the audience. It gave a concert feel, which could have worked. I was thinking maybe something similar to Six. Six feels like a concert. It is the musical that I recommend non-musical people to go see because it doesn't seem like a musical, but it is. The type of music they did, I would describe it as pop rock. No lie, it reminded me of going to Christian concerts where the music is good, but then you listen to the lyrics and it's a little cringe. These guys really can harmonize, but then you realize that it's a love story between a Russian scientist and the dog that goes into space. But I just couldn't believe that the scientist had any love towards the dogs. Hence, there was over 40 dogs that they sent out to space. Again, it's a great history lesson for kids, but for adults to sit through it, it's torturous. If there were jokes in the musical, it didn't quite land, but it would have for kids. Something you might hear me say over and over is the feeling that music is what helps understand a situation, the lesson, or help propel the story. Okay, so we are almost 30 minutes in. And to myself, I was like, okay, maybe there's 30 more minutes. No, we have an hour and a half to continue, and it's a little rough right now, is all I can say. But let's keep going. Do they even have an intermission? I guess we'll see. The stage is fine, but the way they use it, it seemed easy because you just have to insert a clip. I have to say there was one cool set moment though. Then I finally made it to the ending, but I thought it was the ending, and I was so confused because Okay, I was confused because it was a big part with the Russian scientist talking to Laika and Laika, saying, "Hey, you sent me into space. I thought you loved me. Oh, Laika, you're never coming back." And then he goes through, it's like a huge emotional scene, and then the scientist screams and it blacks out and it goes into text. So, because I'm watching it on TV, I thought that was it and that's how it ended. But because their stage, they have screens in it, this is what was playing for the audience, and they just made it easier for people that were viewing it on the TV. I hope that made sense. But I got confused. I was like, oh, even how they written it, they're like, wow, he went into surgery for 8 hours. Tough fella. But then he died the next day. Like, it's just, I'm laughing at parts that I don't think they thought would be funny. Who knows? Who knows? They really tried to make it emotional and sad, but again, I really don't believe that the scientists were attached to the dogs. I guess when it gets down to it is that sometimes there are history lessons that are fascinating, but it doesn't mean that it should be a musical. Also, it feels like this could have been 45 minutes and not an hour and 30 minutes. Anyways, darlings, have you seen this musical? And if not, no worries, you're not missing anything. Next musical I'll be watching is Diana the Musical. It's on Netflix, so don't forget to subscribe so you can see my reaction to that and we can talk about it. That's it for today's episode. I am trying to find more musicals on different platforms. If you have seen any that you recommend, let me know. And if you're looking for more magic, I am on Instagram and TikTok, Care Off Book. And without further ado, take care, darling.